Hopefully you identify with me and you feel as if you are trying to undergo some kind of metamorphosis, like caterpillar to butterfly, and express who you are in a more complete way. Gender is social. It's how you behave. And you need to be a little bit clear about this, because it can be very confusing when people use the word man when biologically you're male or female or somewhere in between or both or something. But that's biology, male or female. Then gender, your set of behaviors on a scale of feminine to masculine, that's your gender. In Cambodia, in particular, there's not really a scientific basis for their culture. It's mainly historical, and so you will hear the word man and male used interchangeably. But of course, if you're born a male, then you have a choice to either become a man and dress like men and act like men and be masculine, polarized masculine like men, or you can choose to go more toward the feminine. Now, one of the things that you need to do for background is take a cultural anthropology class or some class where you're exposed to cognitive psychology and the evolution of the brain, and not, because if you get lost in all this Freudian psychology and the social sciences that don't consider that the brain has evolved over the years and there's no gene, haven't been exposed to gene theory at all, you're going to get confused, because you are going to be in the process of messing with how you feel about yourself and how other people feel about you, and where does this come from. So when you get to Cambodia, like I did, February 2015, on some kind of a quest, you may not even know what that quest is, other than to find a place in the world where you can live on a $500 Social Security check in some kind of comfort. But you will bring with you all of your cultural conditioning, all of your genes, all of your little cognitive adaptation modules and all that stuff. You're going to bring that with you along with your luggage. So getting some kind of background knowledge about cultural anthropology in order to get some kind of perspective on what's going on around you and what you're going to end up with when you start trying to express yourself. Where do you start off from? You have to know where you're starting off from. Now, I had the experience of being Mr. Mom. My wife wanted to go out, work in a big corporation in computers, make $100,000 a year, and she was happy to do that, and I never had that desire to go out and work the way the stereotypic man has this desire to go out into the world and make money and do things, push people around or whatever, and get stuff for himself. I never had that desire. I always wanted to be a secluded writer somewhere, living in a mountain cabin and getting my royalty checks by mail, and then all that kind of stuff. I just didn't have that desire to act out a man in the conventional way. So at 62 years old, I end up going back to school because there is no age limit on student loans, folks. If you want to take a $19,000 a year student loan to go to school, and then you'll pay it back between 65 and 93 when you expect to die, that's your decision. So anyway, I'm in this anthropology class, and I've been exposed to cognitive psychology and brain evolution and the scientific reasons why it's believed that male brains have evolved from the typical hunter brain, single focus, low empathy, to the point of not having any at all, and versus female brains, which have emotional intelligence and empathy and compassion, and are just want to be emotionally involved with the people around them. The development of emotions is what allowed human beings to live in groups. And the women were monitoring the emotional health of the community and keeping the community together. That's the purpose of gossiping, and something that men despise and think of as worthless. Well, that's the glue that holds the community together. So if you, like in my case, I love Korean dramas. Well, when you study those, I was going to do a master's thesis on it, you'll see that most viewers of Korean dramas, especially in Korea, watch these dramas because they feel that their own lives are this emotional wasteland where their husband gets up in the morning and goes to work and drinks with his buddies after work and comes home drunk late at night and sleeps, and then she doesn't see the kids in the morning and all that. They feel as if they live in an emotional wasteland, and so studies will say that that's the attraction of Korean dramas, is to fill this void. Now, in my case, so you need to know something about yourself in that way. Now, I had the experience of, once I was told about the differences between male and female brains at 62 years old, I thought, oh shit, I have a female brain inside my head. I wish I'd known it earlier, or I would have known that I should have gone into a profession that women normally go into, like teaching or nursing or something, instead of going into clerical business work and being unhappy. So you have to read some of these things, get some background information in order to come here with some kind of awareness of what you're walking into as you transform yourself from this caterpillar male and man into on the road to being expressing a more feminine gender. You want to have this facial reconstruction surgery, do something about your nose, do something about making your chin more pointed, have a beautiful face, then have breast augmentation, then have sexual reassignment surgery and actually change your, to use the term that's common here, just change your dick into a pussy, change your penis into a vagina, an artificial vagina, if you want to use medical terms. When you saw me, did you say, oh, well, actually, there's no way that I could pass 24/7 as a woman in the society. I just don't want to go through all the negative feedback that I'm going to get by trying to do what Bruce Jenner did, for example. I just don't want to go through that. And so how far am I personally going to go to express a more feminine side? In my case, I've decided, well, I'd like to have some plastic surgery to get rid of this chicken neck, just stretch some of my muscles, maybe do a skin peel or some laser treatment to get rid of the age spots, redo my teeth, and my hair, I don't really care that much about doing something about it right now, but just make myself look more handsome as a man, dress better, feel better about myself. And then when I go out into the world, I can just do all the male type things that I still like to do, drive motos and do mechanical stuff and all that, and not get this miscellaneous negative attention that I would get if it appeared to other people that I wanted to appear as a woman. Well, I mean, I have 10 years of community college theater. I have a desire to do things in a theater space that would be foolish and stupid to do out in the world on my way to the supermarket. And video is the same way. I have an opportunity right here to do something on video and then distribute it for whoever can find it and wants to look at it. I don't have to have 24/7, the kind of 24/7 feedback that Ladyboy D gets when she goes out into the world. She can only go to certain places, she can only do certain things, her life is limited. She can perform in a gay bar as a ladyboy, but she's not welcome to come there as a customer. It's like being a black musician in the 1950s or something. The world here is segregated. Men live in one world, women live in another world, and then the lesbian, LBGT world is a certain subculture of that. So you need to have some kind of background, a little bit of science, a little bit of awareness before you walk into this situation where you don't really know what's going on. And that's why I'm making the video. It took me 2 fucking years to get as far as I am now, which it's up to you to decide how far I'm getting with this or whatever. But just realize that you're going to need some kind of support for what you're doing, and that's why I'm going to give you some support in these videos so that you realize some of the things that that can happen to you, and when you're pursuing this dream and no one else understands it, and you don't even know what's at the end of the road, but you're going to run along it as fast as you can to get to the other end. And a lifetime of misunderstandings about yourself. Who are you? Freudians will tell you, well, let's do a dream analysis. Who do you think you are? Well, maybe the person you think you are behaves completely different when they're actually doing something. I have years of theater training. If I think about running out right now and performing a play, I would be afraid. But after enough rehearsal with supportive people, I have no problem performing in front of a group of people. So how I think about myself and what I do are completely different. You will, since Ladyboys perform in gay clubs, be aware that Ladyboys are not attracted to gay men, or even if they are, gay men are not attracted to Ladyboys. Gay men don't like, you'll hear this in Ladyboy D's video. Gay men don't like long hair, they don't like breasts, they don't like a feminine body, they don't like clothes, they don't like all the wonderful, hyper-feminine, girly stuff that I love. Long, painted fingernails. Damn. Oh, I like it. So you will, if you love Ladyboys and want to see Ladyboys, and you're thinking, well, do I want to be a Ladyboy? No, actually, I want to hang out with Ladyboys. I want to have a Ladyboy girlfriend, so then I get to see all this wonderful, hyper-feminine, girly stuff 24/7, but I don't have to do it myself and encounter all this resistance. Are you aware then that if you decide to go the route that I went on, which is to try to have a Ladyboy girlfriend so that I can enjoy all these things, you are going to run smack into the wall of Ladyboys have male brains. Lady boy. Lady on the outside, lady body, boy on the inside. Boy brain on the inside. And I remember talking to this manager of a club February before, when I was here for a month making a documentary film, before I went back to the US and sold all my shit and moved here. I was asking him, I was saying, well, I don't understand Ladyboys. For myself, I realize that inside me is a female brain. I look at the world the way a woman does. And is that what Ladyboys are? And he said, I'm not a Ladyboy, so I don't really know. But from my observations, men become Ladyboys for money, for a job, for work, for an income. And obviously they're good at all these stereotypically female things. They're good at dancing, they're good at shaking their ass and looking sexy and all that. They're good at that, but they're doing it for the money, and many of them just dress as women and wear wigs. They're transvestite. They're gay men who are dressed up as transvestites for the salary. Others will have long hair and get breast surgery or get reassigned a sexual reassignment surgery because they want to be closer to a woman. But that doesn't mean that they look like at the world the way a woman does. It doesn't mean that at all. So you have to know. It would be really helpful if you knew before you came to Cambodia and tried to express your more feminine side in it. Try to make a supportive environment for yourself here where you're at least around people who are not going to freak out when you start trying on women's clothes. you need to know as much about yourself as you can through reading, and then start doing stuff, start expressing yourself here, and just move forward, realizing that if you are in my position of actually looking at the world the way a woman does, you may end up with a ladyboy girlfriend who doesn't really look at the world the same way you do, and so that can be a problem for you. You need to have some awareness of what's going on around you in the culture, and also inside yourself. As kind of an interesting side note here, to show you some of the complexities of trying to work on your gender identity. You're not trying to categorize yourself exactly, because the whole thing is really flexible. My oldest daughter was just telling me that she's starting to get annoyed by people trying to define their gender identity. Well, it can be pretty fluid, because, for example, I'm watching this video about Thailand, a documentary, and these middle-aged European American women are sitting around a table talking about how disgusting it is that any fat, ugly man, out of shape, disgusting man from anywhere in the white guys can come to Thailand and be treated like a god. And this really pissed them off. And so one thing that you need to be aware of, and that I found very unusual, is that in Cambodia, with my $500 retirement check, that's the same salary as a microloan manager at a bank makes every month. So I am a man with resources here. To say nothing of teaching some additional English classes and all that, but just simply the $500-600 minimal Social Security retirement check that you have puts you in the same income category as a bank manager. So you are, and gardeners make $90 to $100 a month. So you are 5 or 6 gardeners, 1 branch manager, and if office workers normally make $220, $230 a month for 6 days a week, 9 hours a day, you are 2 office incomes. So suddenly, like these guys in Thailand, who show up in Thailand and get treated like gods, it was really odd. I'll just admit, it was really odd to have the people around me treat me like I was a man because I have resources. The social aspect of men. If you don't have any money, it's hard to be a man. But if you have money, you will be treated like a man. And then you have white skin. And then in my case, I have 18 years of Western education, cultural capital. So in the middle of wanting to express my more feminine identity, suddenly I'm being treated like a man, like a real man. And that is confusing, because I've never felt manly in that way. It's just like in 1967 when I graduated from high school, a 16-year-old, the rite of passage into manhood was a driver's license, and then your own $12 car that you bought yourself and fixed up yourself and all that. That was the way to become a man, or to go into the military and come to Vietnam and kill people, or whatever. There are certain rites of passage between in the U.S. from being a boy to a man, and I never. I got a driver's license. My mother bought this turquoise Mustang, and whatever. I never successfully became a man on my own. But here, in the midst of my trying to express my feminine side, suddenly I'm being treated like a man, which I never. So I'm having to deal with that, which is very unusual, and then I'll tell you a little anecdote to show you just how confusing it can get. So Ladyboy D and I went to this gay bar to see where a friend of hers was performing, so that once her friend was finished, D would drive her home. So I had come to that club a few times because the Ladyboy performances were really great, but I don't watch the men. I don't care to see muscly guys with their shirts off dancing around and all, because I'm just not gay. And that's one of the things that you'll figure out if you're worried about it now. Oh well, if I'm attracted to ladyboys, everyone will think I'm gay, or I'll think I'm gay. Well, if you go to ladyboy shows and you are there to see the ladyboys, the transgenders, you're not gay. You'll find out right away. You'll see that you're not gay. You don't have to worry about it. Gay men see that you're not interested in them, and they are not interested in you, and except maybe for your money, because you're a man, right? You have money. So at any rate, I had gone there a couple times. I wasn't paying any attention to this featured male dancer, and one of the staff was starting to get really annoyed about that. So the night that Dee and I came, man, I had bought her this this red top with the kind of the parachute. I had bought her this red top with a parachute zipper on the front that she could pull down as far as she wanted to, and then so she wore that, and she'd come back from Thailand with her new 400cc breasts, and was wearing these tight blue jeans, and man, it's appropriate that my exclamation is man, because I was fucking James Bond. I was James Bond in that place. The most beautiful ladyboy in the whole fucking world was there with me, being my girlfriend, and I was James Bond for the first time in my life. I was having a testosterone rush. Those things that when you read and you're doing your reading in anthropology and biology, you read that, well, adolescent males have these testosterone flashes where they get incredibly, they really want to have sexual access, and they want to fight other men and all that, and that's why they have to spend money on football and a program and all this other stuff, and that's why we have to have a military so that men get a chance to express this this maleness, this testosterone. I was on a testosterone rush to be with her. Now that's crazy, right? I mean, a gay club with a ladyboy that gay men are not attracted to at all. They don't find ladyboys sexy. But here I am getting a testosterone rush over a transgendered male who looks like a woman. So anyway, the staff guy has been annoyed with me because I don't pay attention to the male dancers. And so when I came with Dee to his club, I went outside to have a smoke, and he came out and said, when I'm going to touch your girlfriend. He was trying to hassle me, trying to provoke me. And then, so at the end of the show, Dee and I are on the way out of this place, and this fucking guy sticks his hand out toward her. Something happened. Something happened to me. I don't know what the hell it was. I think it was actually an Aikido corkscrew block or something. Out of somewhere came a hyper macho guy. Out of somewhere, just with bang, just like that. It out of the animal brain came macho guy. And then when we went outside, Dee said, "Well, I don't know this guy. I didn't." She immediately thought that I was angry with her for encouraging this guy to touch her. And I'm like, wait a minute, no, he told me he was going to do that. He was trying to hassle me. It's all about him hassling me to make me angry because he doesn't like my just paying attention to these men who look like women or something. He was just doing it to antagonize me. And of course it's not your fault, and I'm not angry with you at all. But then I felt like a man. I realized exactly how men feel when they're what it means to have a testosterone rush, what it means to have this is my woman here, get the fuck away from her or I will smash you down into the ground, and looking around with cold hostility against any other men who are going to try to take my sexual access away. Of course, we never even kissed in 2 years, so it's not really what you might even think it is. It's not a sexually exploitive relationship at all here. But anyway, I'm telling you that in the midst of coming here and thinking that I want to be a ladyboy myself, but for the time being, having a proxy who looks so beautiful is so much easier than me doing it myself. And unless I want to look in a mirror all day long, I'm not going to be able to enjoy all the stuff that I do, and I don't want to do all this stuff in order to attract the men because I don't like people with men or women with polarized male brains. I don't like them. They're not emotional. They're not compassionate. So I'm just telling you, giving you an example of how confusing this process can be while you're trying to express a transgender, getting away from your position as male and man. You want to go in some other direction, and then bang, you get right into, oh, okay, now I understand what a man is. Now I understand how a man feels about the world, how a man looks at the world. I understand it as long as this testosterone is going through me. I understand all this now. And do I want to now go in that more in that direction? Well, that's part of the confusion. So you may, like me, you may come to Cambodia. You may be fascinated with some other gender expression than just masculine and feminine, but then you might find yourself getting really flattered to be treated like a man, like someone who could dominate people instead of being submissive and fucked over for your whole life. And your whatever reservoir of negative energy, like my daughter says, Dad, you've always had anger management problems, and you need to get some kind of control over those. You need to have some tools to use for your addictions. Just be aware that all kinds of crazy stuff can happen here. And that's one of the main reasons why I'm making the videotape, is to make you aware through little anecdotes of what happened to me, the kind of things that can happen, and then hopefully I'm going to create some kind of support group for guys who want to go through this, so they can benefit from my 2 years of learning from one mistake after the other. So anyway, that's the rant. That's the story that's the start of I've only just begun. That's the start. You get some kind of an idea of what you are going to run into when you try to change from a caterpillar to a butterfly. And you need to have some background. You need to do some Buddhist self-reflection as far as are you going to freak out if you don't have medical insurance? Are you susceptible to flattery, so you're going to give away all your money to people that flatter you? Do you have drug problems? Do you have other kinds of addictions that are available here for minimal cost? Cambodia has all the good things and all the problems.